Back, ladies and gentlemen, to Aethlon Medical's channel with novel immunotherapies to combat cancer and life-threatening viral infections. Joining us, Guy, the Senior VP of Business Development, to kind of give us a deeper view into the company today, answer some Q&As from the investor side of this. So first and foremost, welcome back, sir.
Thank you. Thanks, Kyle.
And a pleasure to get you on. So I want to kind of just dive down into this with first and foremost, kind of your company's competitive advantage and kind of what you're seeing in the landscape.
Sure, thank you. Well, there's only a few companies that have blood filtration devices. Two of them are private, one is a public company. And none of these companies can filter the broad range of pathogens and particles that Aethlon's hemopurifier can. So our main advantage is we deplete disease-promoting exosomes, such as in cancer, and at the same time circulating viruses.
Now, from the clinical program side of it, do you want to tell us kind of where you're at with it?
Sure. So we have one active program that's recruiting patients in India, and it's treating severe COVID-19 patients. That study is being conducted in Medanta MedCity Hospital, which is in Delhi, India. So far, we've enrolled and treated one patient in that study, and we continue to actively screen patients. We've just recently added a second site in India. The ethics board approved that site, and the CRO that we're working with is also interviewing new sites, including for an oncology trial, which we're just getting started on, finalizing the design, getting the sites enrolled, and so on with our CRO NAMSA. So that brings me to the second study that we're in the planning phases for, and it's an oncology study. It would be an all-comers solid tumor, where those solid tumors are indicated to be treated with a PD-1 antibody, such as Keytruda, and that are also known to be having a causal relationship between the tumor exosomes that those cancers make and the spread and severity of the disease. That particular study, we're focusing first in Australia to get it launched. We think we might be able to recruit and acquire some sites in India, and then we also want to conduct that study in the US. So it would be a global study, if you will.
Now, I appreciate the insights, and people know that clinical programs can be quite costly. Do you have any insight on the company's financials?
Yeah, the company, first of all, our ticker is AEMD. We're listed on NASDAQ. As of our last reported quarter, which was December 31st of 2022, we had approximately 17.5 million cash. We currently have a market capitalization of around 7 to 8 million, and we don't have any debt.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible to hear. So that gives you a bit of a runway. I mean, what are your main growth drivers for the company in the next 3 to 5 years?
For us, really executing on our clinical plans is key. So we're, like I said, in the planning stages of an oncology study. We're working with 2 CROs to identify and bring sites on board. So that work's underway. Executing on that will be key. And we're also exploring new indications for our technology. So there's several things we're doing internally to see where our technology may have impact on different diseases.
So I appreciate giving some of that insight into the growth just in the coming years. But if you had to kind of just bring it all together, can you kind of just summarize the investment highlights and what investors should focus on?
Sure. I think what really makes us unique is we're developing a novel patented blood purification device called the hemopurifier. We have demonstrated in early clinical studies our ability to remove both viruses and exosomes in patients, and we've also generated data in vitro that we can do the same. Obviously, some of the viral pathogens we can only study in the lab, and so we've shown that we can remove them with our device. But we do have a history, for example, of even removing Ebola from a clinical patient in Germany. We have 2 FDA-granted breakthrough device designations. One is treating severe viral infections for which there's no other therapy option, and the other is for removing tumor exosomes in cancer patients. We're focused on multiple therapeutic targets in both cancer and in viral diseases. And on the cancer side, including solid tumors that fail anti-PD-1 antibodies, we've demonstrated in the current pandemic that we can remove all the relevant SARS-CoV-2 variants in vitro. We've shown that data. And we've also demonstrated that we can remove both virus and exosomes in COVID patients. And then, lastly, preclinically, we're looking at other indications where the technology may be able to benefit patients, including in long COVID. I think in terms of our clinical plans as an investment highlight, we have an ongoing study in COVID-19 in India. We're expanding sites there. We're planning an international cancer study, as I previously mentioned, and that is both in Australia, the US, and we hope to have sites in India for that. And I think lastly, but what's important for companies like Aethlon is we have a very experienced management team. We have a strong cash position and we have no debt. So we think we're really poised for growth in the future.
No, I think this was incredibly insightful, and I definitely want to pass the question off to the viewers. We'd love to know what you think about all of this in that comment section below, and consider subscribing, because as news hits the wire, we're going to bring it to you here. But on that, we look forward to catching you in the next one.